In 2010, car manufacturers in India were just about getting ready for the decade to follow. And there were some new entrants then. But now, 10 years later, the market's grown and a lot has changed. But the one thing that hasn't is bringing in some spectacular cars to the country. We take a trip down memory lane and give you our pick of the best cars from the past decade. So here goes. First up from Ford. Yes, we are talking about the Figo. Launched in March 2010, the Figo quickly captured the hearts of customers in India. In fact, internally at Ford India, Chennai, it came to be known as the Model T. Why? Because it sold in huge numbers, just like the Model T in its era. Ford in fact sold 25,000 units in just 5 months since the launch of the car. And yes, it's this popularity that announced Ford's arrival as a very strong competitor in India. The Linea made a big impression in India when it arrived, but the company upped the ante by introducing a more powerful version of it, and it called it the T-Jet. It came with a 1.4-litre turbocharged petrol engine that produced a max power of 113 brake horsepower, and with prices starting at just under 10 lakh rupees, it was the most powerful compact sedan in the segment. Fiat didn't just plonk a more powerful motor, but also put on larger 16-inch wheels, wider 205 tires, and rear disc brakes were made standard. All of which made it an offer which one could not refuse. Next up is an SUV, in fact, Skoda's very first, the Yeti. Manufactured at the company's Aurangabad plant, it was one of the most capable 4x4s we've ever seen in the country. The Yeti was launched at 15 lakh rupees in the country and came with a 2-litre diesel motor with 140 brake horsepower on offer. There was a 6-speed manual transmission with 4x4 too. While Skoda did try to revive sales with a facelift, it was too pricey, but certainly a product far ahead of its times. Something we can't say about the next car. The Swift Desire, as it was called, perfectly matched the expectations of the consumer when it was launched. It was the perfect subcompact sedan money could buy. There was a 1.2-litre K-series petrol engine and a 1.3-litre diesel. There was also an automatic gearbox that came in the top spec trim. The sales multiplied and the company managed to do an average of 15,000 to 20,000 units of the car from 2015 onwards. The third generation then carries forward this legacy and yes, to date, is the best-selling subcompact sedan in the country by a huge margin. A subcompact sedan that gave the Desire a tough fight was of course the Honda Amaze. The Amaze was the first car from Honda in India to receive a diesel engine. The subcompact sedan was manufactured in India with more than 90% local content, making it extremely price competitive. It was in 2018 that Honda finally launched the second generation of the Amaze, and it still is the best seller for the company. While the sedans got most of the attention, Volkswagen thought of bringing in a hot hatch to divert some of the people's attention. So they plonked a 1.2-litre motor and got a potent combination of direct injection and turbocharging, resulting in an impressive power output of 103 brake horsepower. And they put all of this on the Polo GT TSI. Yes, the ride and handling department was taken care of, and that 7-speed gearbox was an absolute charm. And this became the hot hatch to buy. Of course, We had our share of fast cars as well, and there were two we have to mention. One was the Jaguar XKR, which had a V8 under the hood making 503 brake horsepower, and yes, was absolutely stunning to look and drive. But a more sensual one was this, the Audi RS5 Coupe. It was a bit of a surprise really, because Audi India planned to launch only the A7 at that time. However, it announced the launch of this hot coupe. It featured a 4.2-litre V8 which punched out 450 horsepower. 0 to 100 km per hour was done in just 4.6 seconds, and top speed was rated at 250 km per hour. It was certainly a drool-worthy addition to the Audi stable. Post this came the era of SUVs, and we had numerous cars added to that segment. The Ford EcoSport was among the popular pick in the subcompact SUV segment. With 3 engine options and numerous first-in-segment features, the EcoSport elevated the company's reputation among customers in India. Another car that cemented the brand's status in the country was the Duster, a compact SUV from Renault, which clearly was a big hit with the customers and in fact should be credited with starting the SUV trend in the country. The BMW X1 started a trend and went on to become one of the most affordable luxury SUVs at the time. At 22 lakh rupees, the X1 opened the floodgates for more smaller SUVs to hit the market. It didn't take much time for the SUV trend to catch up to other segments. It was in 2015 that Renault decided to go after the entry-level hatchbacks and brought out an entry-level car which was SUV inspired. Yes, we are talking about the Kwid. Renault has already sold more than 3 lakh units of the Kwid in India, and with the facelift, it's expecting that number to soar. It ran into trouble when its crash test results saw it get a 1-star rating. Renault, of course, waited a while before reinforcing the structure of the car and adding airbags to it as standard, as also ABS. Like Renault, Tata Motors to venture into a segment it hadn't in before with the Tiago, and ushered in a new era for the company. It was well built, great quality inside and a treat to drive. The Tiago hit the nail on the head, and the sales did the talking. In the second half of the decade, it was all about SUVs. You had Maruti Suzuki bring in the Brezza with just the diesel engine and an AMT as well, which again went on to become a big success in the segment. The Brezza sold like hot cakes, and it was only time before Tata and Hyundai joined in with their subcompact SUVs. The Nexon surprised us with the feature offerings, ride and handling and engine specifications. However, the feather in the cap was the 5-star safety rating that the Nexon received from Global NCAP, making it one of the first cars in India to receive this honor. Hyundai too launched the Venue, and it brought in the country's first connected subcompact SUV. There was a turbo petrol engine too that the company brought in, and it has already sold more than 40,000 units of the car. There were a ton of launches even in the compact SUV space, but the ones that set the benchmark were the Jeep Compass and the Kia Seltos. The Compass was the most affordable Jeep branded product money could buy, And with a price tag of 15 lakh rupees, it became the car to buy. Jeep packed the Compass in with both petrol and diesel engine options with automatic transmission as well. There was a 4x2, a 4x4 on the car. And of course, India became one of the export hubs where the Compass was shipped out of. Kia's first car in India was the Seltos SUV, and with huge investments made, Kia was desperate for a win. Kia till date has sold over 40,000 units of the Seltos ever since its launch in the country. In November itself, it sold more than 7,000 units of the car. Kia has left no stone unturned with the car, and it offers it with a slew of petrol and diesel engines with automatic and manual transmissions available on all of them. Finally, a car that set a benchmark in the MPV segment, and that is the Marazzo. Mahindra's MPV turned a new leaf for the company with great quality, style and design. Available with only the diesel engine option, the Marazzo was big on space and features. What's more, it was also the first MPV in the country to receive a 4-star safety rating from Global NCAP. All in all then, it's been quite a decade, and the 19 cars we listed just tells you how far the industry has come. Well, the only thing to do now is to sit back and enjoy what the next decade has to offer.